What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Cole. I'm a freelance filmmaker based in Atlanta, Georgia. Today we're going to be talking about a software that I've used for several years to do pre-production at the very start of a project. If you don't know what pre-production is, it is all the planning you do before you start a project. And I would say any project that is probably going to be good or have any kind of structure you want to do pre-production. And I have used Milanote for the past few years to do this. And this is not a paid or sponsored video by any means. I've actually used the software and I just wanted to show you guys how I go about using it. When I was getting started in pre-production, there really wasn't any softwares that I could find really that helped me do pre-production. I would honestly go into Photoshop or something and just make stuff for pre-production, and I didn't really know what I was doing. But a few years ago when I found Milanote, it actually really helped me just get started in pre-production, even if it wasn't the most technical, professional way to do it. It was just kind of something that had the tools to just brain dump and put things in so you can actually just get started on your project. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump over to Milanote and I can show you guys just how I use it. Super simple way to get my projects started. All right, we are in Milanote here. This is my page here, which is actually pretty confusing because I have so many projects, but I'm going to go ahead and make a new project for us. And let me turn off the webcam. I'm going to go ahead and make a new project. So to do that, all you do is you just do a new board, essentially. You could just do stuff here, but the way I've done it is I just do a board for every project. So like here is a project that I'm currently working on. I'm actually doing pre-production and this looks pretty crazy, but I'm going to show you guys how to do this kind of stuff. So let's go back home and I'm going to do a new project and we're just going to call this test project. If the stuff's looking too small, you can hold Command on Mac and zoom in, and it's probably Control on PC, I would guess. Let's go ahead into our test project. Double click in here and let's go ahead and get started. Like, let's just say we're doing a project from scratch and we're like, what do we do? Well, the first thing that I do is just kind of brain dump. So I may not even start in Milanote. I may just go to notes and just start typing something if I have like a random idea. If I'm just on a run or somewhere, I'll go to the notes app and just start typing. And then what I'll do usually is bring that into Milanote. Yeah, let me give you guys an example of this. So on this project here, we can see here over on the left is pretty much what I did. I just brain dumped and then I kind of turned it more into a script. And I pretty much just, have it in Milanote and just kept tweaking it. But this is like a treatment is what you call it, where you just write like the basic idea of your project. So that is what I did there. So I'll usually just do a note and you can just drag that in like this, just drag it in and you can start typing stuff. Be like, the man was across the street. Just start like brain dumping if you have like some short film idea and you can write it here. So I'm actually going to copy in my little story from my other project. So I'm just going to put this here and we'll say this is our overview of the story. This is what I usually like to do, is something like this. And then from here, you're probably like, what do I do now? And you see all this stuff on the left. I can pretty much get into how to use that. So a link is pretty self-explanatory. Any link you want to put here. And this could just be a reference to something, like a video that inspires you. Tell you what, let's go into an older project that I did for a music video, and this will make more sense. So let's hop in here, and you can see over here on the left, that is the link. These things right over here, this was actually, I even have it called inspiration, which is pretty funny. But so it has all those links to videos that inspired us. And then in the middle here, this was kind of like our creative inspiration, like our vibe of the video that we wanted to go for, like how we wanted it to look, the style, like all that. We kind of just dumped a bunch of photos here that pretty much did that. And I'm gonna actually show you guys like how to dump like photos and stuff into Milanote, because maybe you don't know that. So let me go to frame set. So this is a app that is commonly used for, you know, references for commercials. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this to the right over here, and I'm going to, let me see here. Whoop. Put this to the left. There we go. And pretty much you can just go to frame set, or shot deck is another good one. Or you can go to Pinterest, which is a really good one if you have like a certain outfit or something you're looking for. But yeah, you pretty much just get a picture like this and you just drag it right here. This is what I do, and it just goes right in there, which is really nice. And something about frame set that's pretty cool, if I can find an example here, is you can actually drag GIFs into it. So you can see here, this is moving. You can actually click this and drag this in, and now this will be moving in Milanote, or it should be. Hang on, let me do a different one. So this one here, drag it in. Oh, I think my internet actually just was like freezing right there or something. But anyways, I just dragged this straight into here, and now we have a moving storyboard. So this is super useful because a lot of the time you're wanting motion in your camera shot and you're not really sure like how to draw that or show that, and it gets kind of confusing. So at least in frame set is a good one to just drag it in like this. There it goes. Yeah, so now it's in. And say you want to organize this a little better. So for example, you want to connect these. One way to do that is you can grab a column actually, and you could label this like part 1, and you can just start dragging stuff into this column, and that is gonna, you know, organize that for you a little bit. Another way to do it is you can grab these lines and you drag the end of it into this one of them, and then the other end into this, and then now these are connected. So for example, if you're wanting to organize something in a certain way where you're like, this shot goes to this shot or whatever, you would do that with an arrow as a good way to do that, which is pretty useful. And you can delete it. It's so simple, like anything, you just click on it, hit delete, and it'll delete it. Yeah, pretty much basic, like what you would think it is. It pretty much is usually. There's no crazy shortcuts. And then like I did earlier when I was creating a project, you can actually grab a board and actually put it in an existing project. So say like we're in our project and then you want to label this like shot list, and you want to put just your shot list in here, which is what I do. You can put that in here. So it just gives you like a little folder to just keep things more organized, or you can just be as chaotic as you want. Yeah, and then we have comments. That's like a classic one. You can drag that and, you know, type whatever there. Like for example, like a reminder, just anything you want to put there. You can also put like a caption on a video, or you know, or your tiles here. So you can click on something and then you hit caption. Oop, hold on one second. Click. Oh, that was already clicked. And then you hit caption, and then you can type. Oh wait, it's because, let's see. Oh, my bad. So yeah, you click on this, hit caption. It's because it already has a caption. Okay. And then you can, yeah, highlight this and say, hello, like whatever, boot. Let me take a JPEG. I'm going to drag this. Okay, so there's no caption under it like these ones. So then you would hit caption, and then it comes up, hello, wide shot. Yeah, that's how you do a caption. Next up is going to be a table over here on the left, and pretty much this is pretty self-explanatory. If you ever use Google Sheets or something like that, you can just type stuff here. Like this is a good one for like a shot list where you want to type it out, like shot 1 and then shot 2, and then you can add like extra columns and stuff. So yeah, that is a table if you ever need that. Another one is, oh yeah, the to-do list. So this is a good one. So if you have a list of things that you need to bring to the shoot, like I've used this one a lot. So you're like, TV, blanket, camera, or like whatever you need to bring to the shoot. This is a really good way to do that. Super easy. And then there's also, if you click these three dots, there is some more stuff here. And this is pretty good as well. So if you need to drag like audio in here, yeah, you can paste a link from Spotify or something, which is pretty cool. Another one that I found recently that I've started doing is actually this sketch one. And this one is pretty cool. So what I like to do with this one is, if I am just having a difficult time finding a shot on like Shot Deck or Frame Set, I will just draw it myself because a lot of times that's easier to just draw like a little stick man and just show like what you're talking about, because sometimes you just cannot find the shot that you were looking for. So in this other project I was working on, like let me go to the shot list here. You can see I just drew a bunch of stick dudes because I could not find a shot like exactly what I was talking about. Like for this one, it's like the cowboy is in front of this blue backdrop. And it's like, where am I going to find that on Shot Deck? Or it would just take forever. So I'm just like, okay, draw it. Or it's like, I want the boots like this certain way, like framed this certain way. It's like, just draw it like that. Even if it's like the worst drawing ever, it's just quicker sometimes. So you can do that. And then you can draw on an existing shot. So like this one, you can say draw on top. So like say there's, something that you wanted to say, like circle this, and you wanted to say brown boots or something. You can circle stuff or, do things like that. So that's super helpful. Yeah, to like zoom in and out again, it's like command, scroll. You can middle mouse click and drag and like move around, which is super useful. So if you're like way zoomed in, you can move like that. Super easy. You can edit stuff. And what else? That's mostly it. I mean, that's all the fundamentals, and you pretty much, it's pretty simple. You just like drag stuff in or type stuff, and it's just a place to kind of brain dump and just, prep for a shoot. And it makes it so much easier than just showing up to a shoot just completely blind and, not knowing what you're doing. I'm going to hop into another project and just kind of go through the board, like what basically a completed board looks like. So yeah, let me go back to that music video real quick and show you this. This music video is actually in post-production right now, but this is the MILANOTE board that we used. So this one is not organized at all because this is shared with like 2 or 3 other people, and they pretty much just brain dumped in here. And yeah, so the middle part is just, inspiration. We just like drag pictures in here like I showed you earlier. And then here was an example of the list or the checklist. This was actually a to-do list for the shoot. It was like finish the storyboard, do this, hit up the model, and then this was a gear checklist or bullet point. And then this was when we were renting gear and acquiring gear for the shoot. We made a checklist and went check on, everything that we got or everything we needed. This was my gear that I needed to bring. And then this was the director and the, art designer person, like what they needed to bring, to decorate the set, or the set designer. This is a pretty crazy big one. This is like a schedule over here. This is an example where we used the table. We did that here. So it's pretty much like a shot list, but it's more of a schedule, and it just shows like what time we're doing things. And we pretty much followed this almost, and we kind of got off of this halfway through, but it helped us be like, where do we need to go now? What else we got here? So you might be seeing all these shots and be like, oh, this is the storyboard or something. But no, This is actually the storyboard. It's another board in here, and this looks pretty crazy. This is not organized at all, but we actually just dragged stuff in, and this was like our core shots, like kind of what we wanted to get. And yeah, and you can see we drew a lot of these because yeah, it's like hard to find an exact shot like that, so we just drew it, which is pretty funny. And then we had a wardrobe, I don't know how I just said that, for our model in here. And we actually shared the board with her so she could, see this and figure out what outfit to get. So that was super helpful. Yeah, and I think that about does it for this board for a music video that was shot. Oh yeah, last thing is the script was in here. We actually just dropped a PDF in here pretty much. And yeah, this was just a script that we wrote and then used ChatGPT to help, fix the grammar and stuff. And that's pretty much what we did, and just dropped it in Milanote. And all this chaos pretty much helped us on that shoot. And here is a shoot that I'm doing pre-production for right now that I'm going to direct, but we have not shot this at all yet. And I have pretty much just written like the script, or the, overview, the treatment as they call it. And then this is all of our outfit inspiration. And then you got a couple little inspiration videos from Instagram. And then we have our shot list in here. And pretty much I just made a shot list and about drew every shot with just in Milanote. And then I used the caption to just type under it, because the drawing was so horrible. I had to type in there what it is. So the DP actually knows what this is. Yeah, guys, so that about does it. That is how I use Milanote to do projects that I work on. And hopefully this video helped you out or helped you learn about Milanote or how to do pre-production or something. But yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.